Hey everyone! Today I've got a pretty interesting idea. Making something useful from an old cooling fan. It's an important component from a computer. And if you happen to have one lying around at home, take it out and check if it still works. If it's still running fine, then we can get started right after checking. My old cooling fan is still working just fine. How about yours? If yours isn't working, don't worry. These are very easy to find at electronic shops and usually come at a very low price. All right, now let's get started on building the sand sifting machine. Here, I prepared a medium-sized nut. We'll use it as a key part to create vibration for the cooling fan by attaching it to one of the blades, creating an imbalance that makes the whole setup shake. Just what we need for the sand sifting machine. Next, I have a square piece of plywood with each side measuring 12 centimeters. I'll use it as the base for the sand sifting machine. With these 4 bolts and 4 nuts, I'll secure them into the 4 holes I just drilled in the wooden board, using them as support posts to keep the structure stable and reduce misalignment caused by vibration. To absorb some of the vibration without affecting the performance of the sand sifting machine, I'll reuse 4 small springs from ballpoint pens. They'll act as shock absorbers. Next, I'll make a simple platform to attach to one side of the cooling fan. As for this piece of PVC pipe that might seem unrelated, I'll flatten it out and turn it into a square plastic sheet that matches the size of the fan. To flatten this piece of PVC pipe, I'll use a heat gun. After heating the PVC pipe until it softens, I'll press it down onto a flat surface using a heavy object. Once it cools, we'll have a flat plastic sheet. Next, we'll trim the plastic sheet so it matches the size of the cooling fan. After drilling 4 holes in the plastic sheet, I'll use a blade to trim away any excess plastic so the bolts can sit firmly in place without becoming loose or misaligned. I've also prepared 4 more bolts and 4 nuts here. I'll use them to secure the plastic sheet to the cooling fan, and they'll connect to the remaining ends of the 4 springs, forming a complete shock-absorbing structure. With the two wires from a cooling fan, I'll attach a DC power plug so it can be easily connected to a power source. I'll secure this DC power plug to the base of the sand sifting machine to keep the wiring neat and out of the way. Here's a box with a suitable size. I'll attach it to the plastic platform to complete the structure of the sand sifting machine. All right, that's everything done. Now I'll plug it in and see how it works. Although it seems to be working quite well, we'll run a real test to see if the results match our expectations. It seems not many people here are familiar with what a sand sifting machine actually does. So let me explain it more clearly. You just need to pour in a moderate amount of sand, then add some rusty metal parts. When a machine vibrates, the sand acts like a fine abrasive, constantly colliding with and rubbing against the metal surfaces. This repeated contact gradually breaks down and removes the rust layer, especially in small gaps and uneven areas, making the cleaning process more thorough than doing it by hand. after the sand sifting process. The results are honestly impressive. It may not remove 100% of the rust, but those metal pieces have been cleaned up significantly. From something that looked worn out and neglected, they now have a much cleaner surface and can be reused without much trouble. And that's really the point of this little build, taking simple materials and turning them into something genuinely useful. If you've got a similar cooling fan lying around, it might be worth giving this a try yourself.